This podcast is sponsored by Bix Recovery Supplement. After a long bicycle ride, that's usually not the end of my day. I'm still a husband, a dad, and I have work to do, like real work. So recovery is super important to me. So after a long bicycle ride, I take Bix Recovery Supplement as part of my recovery routine. It was recommended to me by my friend Terence Go, who's an ultra endurance trail runner, and he does a lot of exercise, folks. So whenever he recommends something to me, I listen. So if you want to take your training seriously and recover seriously as well, order your Bix Recovery Supplement at Instagram.com/focusrecoveryph. I'll put a link in the show notes. So thank you, Bix Recovery Supplement via Focus Recovery PH for sponsoring the podcast. Also, if you want to listen to even more podcasts, over the years, 032 Conversations has had over 100 interviews. That is about 100 people that I've talked to. I've had the pleasure of being able to have so many fun conversations, and over 100 plus of them have been recorded. So you can check out the interviews in the archives at 032.com. Let's get to the show. Welcome to 032 Conversations, the podcast where we talk to creatives, see how they live and how they do their work. I'm your host, Carlo Villarica. A few weeks ago, I got invited to do a podcast by Julian Sibi. Julian Sibi is a software engineer who turned his passion of tech into his blog, utterlyrandomtechie.com, that makes sense of the techie life. And I think through his blog, he must have met so many other creatives and content creators. So according to this, through his interactions with fellow creatives, that led him to start a podcast called The Creator Life. It's an interview, conversation-style podcast that finds out how different creators live. And I happen to be one of the guests of this podcast. And it was good. I thought it was a good interview. It was fun to just chat with Julian about podcasts in general. So I thought it'd be a good idea to rebroadcast it here on 032 Conversations. And if you liked it, you can check out his podcast, The Creator Life, as well. There's a whole bunch of other interviews there. Put a link in the show notes. Again, this is Julian's show. So the intro after you hear this, the intro is going to be Julian reading his sponsors. Then we talk at some point. Then I almost derailed him because he almost forgot to start the podcast. Then he eventually officially started the podcast. We talk about some podcast nerdery and the possibility of Spotify becoming the YouTube for podcasts. I don't know, this is a semi-controversial topic. Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? But make sure to check out Julian's website, utterlyrandomtechie.com, and the Creator Life podcast. All right, let's get to the show.
The Creator Life is sponsored by the company Cebu. It's a co-working space that fosters creativity and collaboration, all while getting things done. Check them out in their two locations, Mandaue and Cebu IT Park. You can also take advantage of their other spaces in Japan, Singapore, Bangkok, and Hawaii if you become a member. Get 50% off on a day pass or flexi pass when you use the code CreatorLife50. That's CreatorLife50 for 50% off on a day pass or flexi pass in the company Cebu. For more info, check them out at thecompany.ph and their social media channels on Facebook and Instagram at the company Cebu. Thank you so much to the company Cebu for sponsoring the podcast. It's been a while since we talked for the podcast. That was like what? 2 years ago.
Oh, with me?
Yeah, it was like
Has
so
it been
long.
2 years?
It has been 2 years. It was like, I'll check the episode list. It was like 2 years ago. Because it was like when I had shitty audio. Yes, I'm gonna put an explicit tag on this right now. Almost 2 years, so yeah. Yeah. It was still
Well, a
crap
lot
on.
has happened.
A lot has happened. Like, seriously. So many things. It's like, I
Yeah,
don't
man.
know. Um, Japan happened.
You know,
The pandemic happened. More podcasting stuff
you went
happened.
to Japan, but what was that like? You just stayed there? You worked there or
Yeah, I was
something? Or
working there. I was sent there for work. For like spurts. Like 2-month spurts. So,
for your work? So they
for
sent
work.
you there, like your company sent you
Yeah,
there?
my company sent me there. So it was like spurts. It
That's
was
cool.
it was
Japan
fun.
is like really nice.
Yeah, but right now they're dealing with I don't know if it's a second wave or something, but yeah, sucks.
Well, it's the whole world, man.
It's the
We're just
whole
we just so happen to be like right now we just so happen to be like in a good spot right now, but you never know what's going to happen like in a month from now where maybe cases go back up again and then we're
yeah.
all you know
I think that's what
so I'm like
hmm, I think that's what worries everyone. It's like what would happen if like we would just suddenly remove some restrictions? Would people just go back to the way it was? I mean, for some people probably not, but it's so scary if it's so scary to think about. It's very
no,
weird.
for sure you can
Yeah.
see that right now. You can see that like you just go outside, people are out again and everything.
Yeah.
Like you can't stop. It's human nature to want to go out there and socialize
Mhm.
and meet other people. It's just now nga, if you want to do something like that, you're like you're gonna extra cautious. You got like a mask.
Yeah.
Now they require that like plastic, what do you call that? A face shield.
Face
Tried to
shield.
go inside a 7-Eleven the other day and yeah, they wouldn't let me in.
Because of the
you
face
know?
shield?
So you need
Uh
yeah, man.
yeah. I think the worst part is if everyone's required to wear a hazmat suit. Like a literal
Well,
hazmat suit.
probably it's not gonna get to that
I
point.
hope not. Like the NBA players when they were starting going inside the bubble, they were literally wearing hazmat suits because
Were they?
yeah, some of them were wearing like literal custom made hazmat suits because some of them are like too tall for a standard hazmat suit. So that's
Oh
really weird.
well, yeah.
Yeah. Nice hat by the way.
Thanks, man. You can get it on sale right now on 032.com.
We're literally doing plugs on the intro. It's like what? It's fine. Okay.
Yeah, man. So, what's this thing you're doing? Like, I heard you're talking to all the podcasters or something.
Oh, so yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Before that, let me start the podcast in three,
oh yeah, man.
2, 1, go. Welcome to The Creator Life, a podcast that makes sense of how different creators live. I'm Julian Sibi, that's Sibi, and I'm really grateful that you're listening to the show. New episodes are on Fridays, and bonus episodes pop up on Mondays or Wednesdays if I feel like putting out more stuff. If I feel like it. If you haven't already, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Google Podcasts, and anywhere you're listening to podcasts. You can leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. That really helps the show a lot. And if you can, although it's really weird to keep on doing this, but yeah, I have to get used to it. So support me on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Julian Sibi. So still in the month of September, which means I'm having podcasters on the podcast because one, it's International Podcast Day at the end of the month. So go to internationalpodcastday.com to find out more about that event where they feature like almost 20 something podcasters. Like the whole day will be dedicated to just uh podcasters talking about the craft and everything. So, with that in mind, my guest for this episode, I haven't had this person in a while. It's been like, yeah, as I mentioned up top, 2 years. So it's Carlo Villarica. He's the person behind 032 and that awesome podcast you may have listened around called 032 Conversation. So welcome back to the show.
What's up, bye?
Yeah.
Good to be back.
Yeah. It's been a
How
while.
are you, man?
I'm good. Like, I don't want to be asking like pandemic related questions, although that's kind of unavoidable at this point since, we're still in it. Like,
Yeah.
I literally did a month's worth of like just talking about the pandemic and how people are dealing with quarantine and stuff. And can't believe we're still here. We're still in this. Although not as restrictive as before, but they're still in it, which is like really, it's really a thing. But I wanted to have you on the podcast because it's been a while since we talked, and podcasting itself has changed a lot in those past 2 years, I should say, with all the things that are happening. So, first question, how's 032 Conversations going?
It's doing good, bye. Just chugging along. I don't know if you've noticed. So, like, basically, we started, doing it, like, so when we would do the podcast, I prefer to meet, and I used to prefer to just meet in person. You have a real conversation with somebody. You see them right in front of you. You see their body language. You can tell how they feel when you talk to them.
Mhm.
And of course, now it's just impossible. Well, not impossible, but probably irresponsible to do so. So, yeah, so I started doing the Facebook Live stuff, and yeah, it's doing really good actually. Like I didn't realize like the reach of Facebook Live would be. It's like a big reach, bigger than normal. But like the listener uh, behavior is different on Facebook than it is on, like, I don't know, on a podcast app or something.
Mhm.
But in terms of like awareness, for sure, Facebook is up there. It's like a lot of people learn about the show that way.
Yeah.
And
Cuz like
hopefully they, if they want to dig in, they can just go to the website.
cuz it's so much different when you do it on Facebook. Like pretty much everyone and their mom and their grandmom are basically on Facebook posting random things. So like you would think like everyone would just see stuff there, and it's very organic for me to say that like Facebook, we pretty much use Facebook. I mean, lately I've been trying to avoid Facebook because for all the good things it does, there are a lot of bad things, and I'm seeing more of the bad things lately, and it sucks. But yeah, so as much as possible, I don't post.
I got a hack.
Yeah.
I have a hack for that. Like, what I did was so I'm into bicycles. So I just joined a lot of bicycle groups. And so in my feed, it's like half of it is about bicycles, So at least it's something that brings me joy.
Yeah.
And then occasionally I'll see like real news.
Yeah.
So that way I can it's not as depressing.
Yeah.
you
To be
know?
fair,
And
I just scroll through Facebook. It's like, okay, I just see like, because I follow tech. Like when I'm not doing this, I'm basically following tech all the time. So I'm just like scrolling through tech. Then like I see the news. The thing is when I see the news and it's so stupid. I mean, I try not to post, but if it's like, because like there's this bar where they always seem to reach so low, but then they make it lower and lower and lower, which is so dumb. So it's like you'd think they'd stop going down, but it's very weird. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into politics in this podcast. This is not what this podcast is for. Oh,
O sige, bye. So like let's talk podcast because I'm curious. So what you said like two years has passed and a lot has changed in podcasts. Like what do you yeah, I feel like you're more into it than I am in terms of like as an industry
mm-hmm.
because me I'm just, I'm just doing my thing. I like to talk to people and I listen to my whole I have like a bunch of podcasts that I listen,
Yeah.
but I don't know too much about like news, for example, in terms of podcasts. Of
Yeah.
course, there's the Joe Rogan thing, the
Yeah.
Gimlet thing, the Spotify thing. I'm curious to hear your perspective.
Because the thing with what Spotify is doing now, especially what Spotify is doing, because like everyone else is like, I don't know if what they're doing, don't know what they're doing basically, but Spotify is making this big audio push because let's face it, they're not gonna earn much with music for the long term, so they're banking their future on audio, particularly podcasts. This is why they did all the things they did, like buying Gimlet, buying Anchor even, or
Oh, yeah.
getting Joe Rogan. Even have like they even have like
They have video now.
yeah, they have video now. Because I think when Joe Rogan moved to Spotify, all his back catalog is there, but then the new ones are already on video. So it's a weird experience actually. It's like my I have a beef with Spotify, but I'll get into that later because it's a very different type of discussion. It's not industry. It's
No, but
more
I'm curious about it because like I don't listen to podcasts on Spotify, but I do know that for a lot of like casual listeners, like people not necessarily, people who don't necessarily listen to podcasts, they find out about podcasts and they go to Spotify. And then Spotify for them might be the only place to listen to
Mm,
podcasts. So in that sense, I mean, I'm sure like it's a good move on Spotify's part, but like for me, since it's mixed with music, I don't feel, I don't know, like I have my podcast app and it's fine. It's
yeah.
not great, you know? I don't know, man. So I'm just curious, like, yeah. So anyway, so what's your like,
Because yeah,
beef with
the
Spotify?
yeah, my beef with Spotify is because they have everything else mixed with the podcast. So the
Mm.
experience seems very cluttered. They had to mix everything. So like there's a tab for music, there's a tab for podcasts. So then like I only go to Spotify mainly to listen to music. I literally the only thing I do when I check Spotify is to get the link to my the new podcast episode, just to get the link, and even just share it on Instagram stories. So that's all I do. I don't listen to podcasts there. It's really weird that they're meshing it in one app. Although I get it because all their analytics, all the technology that they built up so far for music, they're trying to put into podcasts. So it's been a
But
weird.
how are they? How are they gonna make money on that? So, for example, let's say you have a podcast that's an hour long.
Mhm.
So, are they just gonna put ads between the hour? I mean, that doesn't make
I am.
sense to me.
I
They
honestly,
have to put it in the podcast somehow, right?
yeah. I honestly do not know how
Like
on
YouTube.
earth. Yeah. I mean, YouTube, like, I don't know, because, like, sometimes if it's a long form video, they just, like, randomly drop it on a middle part that doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know how.
Well, maybe.
I don't know how they're gonna do it differently, though. It's a weird thing because we're used to it on the beginning or on. I don't think anyone puts their ads on the end, which is weird. I mean, I hear podcasts that do that, like they put it on the beginning and the end. But then, like when it's a mid roll, like it's in the middle, it's done with purpose. Like it's not automate. It's not being automatically inserted into the episode. It's like the either the podcaster or the publisher does that. Like they had to define a certain point where they put the ads. So it's so weird how Spotify is going to reconcile that reality where you can't just like put the ad randomly there.
I wonder if they're just gonna treat it like YouTube. I mean, that's essentially what YouTube does. Like, if you
Yeah.
have a long form video, they just put the ad anywhere in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and it works. You know, like, I mean, I'm annoyed by it, but like that's what ads are. They're kind of annoying, but it
Yeah.
does what it's supposed to do. I wonder if that's what they're gonna do. Well, I wonder if that's what they're gonna do, and I wonder if they are going to, like how YouTube has like a creator, like, like a
Yeah, yeah,
creator
yeah. How
studio type
to
thing where you can monetize
I'm
if you're a
wondering
creator. I wonder if they'll do that for podcasts.
because Anchor already does that somehow. They provide like ad reads. So like they have it's in their UI where you can like provide like just you have talking points and then you have to just read it and then like you can insert it into your podcast. Because the thing with Anchor is you can like record segments there. You can basically just make a podcast within that app. So you can also insert the ads there. So in that sense, maybe, but how Spotify will do it, I'm not sure if they have the creator program yet. They're not making that clear because I really don't know. Even the people I know who are closely working with Spotify on stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if that has been raised or something. Because like I think what because a podcast network, it's called Podcast Network Asia. They are also doing podcast analytics. If you've heard of Podmetrics, I'm basically doing plugs for them at this point. It's basically analytics for the podcast, whether it's from Spotify. They even consider Facebook. They get the numbers from there, and I've seen them partner with Lazada for that recent 99 sale yesterday. They were already trying to build
Uh-huh.
with that, so like affiliate links and stuff. It's basically the same thing as websites where you have like a link that goes to somewhere. So basically that. So they're trying a lot of things now because basically how to monetize a podcast is really still not fixed yet. Like you have different ways. People do it.
Well, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you have to reach out to advertisers, you have to reach out
Mhm.
to companies, or you could sell your own products. Uh, I know I've been doing a little like YouTube stuff, and then I just realized it's so much easier to monetize in YouTube. Like, you just
Yeah.
make the content, and then once you reach a certain threshold, it's there. You're
Yeah.
monetized already, and then you just do what you're doing, and then you get something back.
Hmm.
Uh, I I think I said I don't know if Spotify will do like a creator studio type thing, but if they do, I would assume the way they do it would be like you make a podcast, and then you just determine how many ad slots you want in your podcast, and then they're the ones who put it in there, like their own
Probably.
pre-recorded stuff, because it's too much hassle to like
Yeah.
tell the creator to give a read, you know.
Yeah,
um
that would most probably be the case because, the dream is to just like ask the advertisers to put ads and then just automatically insert it like they do music with
yeah,
music now. Like track, ad, and then track again. So, but yeah, it's not as clear to me like how on earth would they make it, but it's going to be jarring. I feel like it's going to be jarring to listen to a podcast and then automatically inserted ad. So I don't know how I feel about that.
that's the future, by like,
Yeah, I mean to
if
be
you
fair, it's not like we're not like it's not going to go away. And Spotify is doing another thing. Spotify is doing now is like exclusive podcasts. This is the one thing. If there's another beep besides their
yeah.
app, it's their exclusives. Like I don't know. How do you feel about exclusive podcasts? Do you think it's Harmful?
So
Like,
there's the well, so I listened to Joe Rogan, for example, and I think December 1 or whatever, he's moving now his content to Spotify, and I just don't use, I just don't use it. Um, so I don't know. I have tried listening to a few podcasts on Spotify because they are exclusively on Spotify, and then I'll listen to it, but I haven't continued using Spotify to listen to podcasts. I'm just happy with my podcast app. Um, I don't know though, but I suspect if it becomes good enough, then I'll just switch. You know, that's probably what's going to happen.
yeah. But I don't
So we'll
know.
see. I don't really know.
I don't know what the bar is for good enough yet. Besides like splitting it off. Because like I feel that's the problem. Because everything is there. Yeah, sure, it's kind of like YouTube at this point, where there's a search field where you can search for new podcasts or music or whatever. But that's basically what a podcast app does now. It's just mixed in with music. So I don't know. Maybe that's an edge for like casual listeners or people who basically don't know what a podcast is, which is basically a lot of people here. Although that's changing really fast here, especially with podcast networks are popping
Well,
up here. They have their own show. They have
and
their own show lineup.
Spotify
Yeah, everyone knows
and
Spotify.
Spotify. Like people are listening on Spotify. I was surprised to see like a bunch of people who listen to my stuff on Spotify, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I guess it's a real thing. you know,
Yeah, I mean it's
uh,
real. It's like
so
so. It was jarring at first when I was like, "What? Spotify's doing podcasts seriously now?" But then, like as they accumulate everything, the podcast services, exclusive podcasters, even a Michelle Obama podcast on Spotify. So yeah, that's
yeah,
something. Like if
and
you
and
can,
and no one and no one else is doing
yeah,
anything in the podcast space in at that
that scale.
no one, yeah, at that scale. No, I mean there's the smaller, there are the smaller like guys like Stitcher or I don't know. I don't know the other. See,
I
like
don't
I don't
even
even
know.
know the others.
I don't
So
even know Stitcher. It's like I only knew because I
I've
was
heard
like,
of Stitcher.
yeah, I've like
I've
read
never
it or
used it.
something, but like, why? Why would I use it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. So if
I don't even use Apple Podcasts.
what
Like
do
I
you
used to,
use?
but then like I use Overcast.
Yeah,
It's an iOS app, which is basically it's so light. What I like about it is the app itself is so light, and the only thing that's making it heavy is the podcasts themselves. So it's the audio files. So I'm fine with that. But then like
I,
I don't know if I could see myself using Spotify as my podcast app unless they change something. And there aren't any exclusives that they have that I really care about. They're mostly spread out. I'm just afraid that we'll just live in a world of like exclusives, and like I would have to have like 3 or 4 apps just to listen to everything. It's kind of annoying.
but you know what I just thought of now while talking to you. So let's say they do the YouTube model and they have a creator studio, right?
Yep.
Me by it, and you too as a creator of podcasts, that will motivate you. Like let's say they started offering the same thing that YouTube does, like we'll give you a percentage of ad sales or somehow like the subscription revenue,
Yeah.
and then you just you have certain metrics that you have to meet, and then if they are obtainable, if they are you know something that like a small podcast can obtain, then that would motivate me to be like, oh, I am just gonna be on Spotify, like if I have to, but
Yeah.
you know, um, they probably won't force you to do like an
Yeah.
exclusive or anything, but like I'll be, instead of promoting, your favorite podcast app, I'll be like, oh, just subscribe on Spotify. That
Spotify.
really
And
helps us
that's
out.
it.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, diba? Like if it comes to that, if they have like some sort of monetization program for smaller creators like the not Joe Rogans of the world,
Yeah.
why
Like,
not?
Spotify could just buy them outright if they really want to buy the big ones. Just what's happening. I think they have Bill Simmons on also. I think they got them.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's why.
I forgot about that. No, but you have to realize Spotify. They only spend money with the
Big
they
ones.
spend money with the but the expectation is they make the money back.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just gonna spend money just to spend money. They spent whatever 300 million, whatever it was for Joe Rogan, because they expect to make it back.
Yeah.
So there has to be some sort of a play here.
I don't know how
So-
they'll monetize it. To like how will they make it like, I'm still paying the same amount for Spotify Premium now. So it's like, since I have that family plan for 6 people, it's like around 200 pesos. And I know it's different for every market, but then like, how is that going to work to split it with other parts? Because now it's basically just the music you're paying for. I'm not sure. But
I know then that you get it automatic.
yeah.
I assume.
Yeah, but
You get it automatic.
I'm not sure if I'm not sure because they're still burning money. So I'm not sure how they will make back the money besides ads.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's so weird.
No, but no, you know what? I can see it. Let's say so right now, if you're talking about video, you're basically talking about YouTube. That's it. There's nothing else, right?
Yeah,
Basically.
basically.
I mean, you have Vimeo,
No, but
you have
like
all
who,
these.
like who
Yeah,
the-
but yeah, exactly. So, and right now for podcasts, there's no one thing right now,
yeah,
right? It's just like, I mean, admittedly, when you were first trying to get into listening to podcasts, it was kind of confusing. Like
true.
I didn't, diba?
Yeah,
Like, what am I doing again? Like I
What
used to
am
go
I-
to the
website.
I used to go to like I used to go to a website and listen to it on my laptop.
Yeah.
And I put it on pause and like, oh, should I turn off my laptop?
There was
gonna
even a
happen
time
here,
where
you
like
know?
I literally had to transfer the MP3 file to whatever music player I was using because I listened to podcasts way back then when phones weren't a thing. So
Yeah,
it's really
so-
weird.
So like I think they want to be like the YouTube for podcasts. Like that's the only place.
Yeah,
I think that's what I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like YouTube for audio, like the YouTube for audio, uh, you know, audio content. Like the only thing they're lacking right now is books, which Audible kind of has the monopoly.
yeah. Audible
on.
has that on lockdown, aka Amazon because they bought the thing. But yeah, I don't know if Spotify will go to audiobooks, so that would mean they would have to compete with Audible, which is hard because that's where everyone is. That's where everyone's using now with audiobooks.
Yeah, no, but they can do it in podcasts.
Yeah.
I think they can.
They can,
It doesn't take much.
and they're the only ones who are basically spending for it. Apple doesn't care.
Yeah.
Google, I don't know. They just made their app now better, but that's weird. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Google making a podcast app. I don't know. I mean, if it helps their search thing, fine. But other than that, I don't see I don't see the value. It's basically Spotify right now. Like, if right now, if I were to tell someone who doesn't know anything about a podcast, I would probably just, okay, do you have Spotify? That's basically what I would say now. I wouldn't like, oh, just use my podcast app I have here. No, because it would be hard, especially for people who basically don't know anything about it. So it's like an easy way for pulling them in.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Well, if they do the monetization on the content creator
Yeah.
thing, then I'm there. I wanna.
We're-
I'm, like,
yeah,
I'm
we'll
so
probably-
in.
Yeah, we'll probably
Count
be
me
there.
in.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of work to do this, man.
It is like I don't know, like the unsung hero when it comes to, like, if it's like a highly produced podcasts, the unsung heroes are usually those editors, the ones who are like listening to all those ums and ahs and blabbers or like mistakes that you make. Those are the people who are like, oh gosh, they are such like I
So do you do that? Do you edit your podcasts? Like, do you get rid of all that?
not all the ums and ahs because I feel like they're not as natural. When I do, like, I tried editing it out and it's like, oh, it sounds so weird. It's like a part of me in a way, but like there are cases where they're like, what if it sounds like audibly bad? Like when I hear it, it's not pleasing to listen to, so that gets removed. Like weird audio quirks. But then like the ums and ahs, I usually leave that out. Then like I tried editing.
You leave it in, you mean?
Yeah, leave it in. Sorry. I don't know. My English is being weird again. I don't know. Probably through all that talk. So, yeah. What else? So, what have you learned from doing all the live streams? Because, like, setting that up must be kind of different compared to, like, just meeting. And then, like, you're just
Yeah.
going to record it and then, like, edit and then a bit, then just upload. It's probably it's an additional workflow in a way. I don't know.
You know what? It's less work.
I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, it's Facebook.
It's,
So yeah, it's probably less work. And I think
Yeah,
if I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
mistaken, you're using StreamYard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
even less work.
so before you, in a way, so like, it's less work because before you'd have to meet with the person, you'd go there, I'd have to go to my office, you have to wait for them there, so it's like a whole afternoon if I'm meeting a person for an interview, right? Now it's just like I go to this room, this is where I work, and I sit down, and then I'm just there. So it's less work in that sense, but it's also harder in a sense that, talking on a screen is harder.
Yeah.
Um, there are also like weird, like what happens to me a lot is just my kids just walk into this room in the
Yeah.
middle of an interview, you know,
Yeah.
or like somebody needs something from me while I'm talking, and then a lot of times like they don't, like the person watching the video, they won't see it, but my hand will literally be like, stop, don't talk to me right now, and it's off screen, it's like off the
Yeah.
screen,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm just looking at the thing and I'm just like, just
It's
going
like
like that.
it's like
So,
you can't have your attention away from that. In a way, it's like so weird. It's like, you have to be on the screen all the time.
no, but it's the problem with, like, working at home, for example, is you can't get away from everybody who needs your attention.
That's
right?
why we go out,
So,
right?
yeah. So that's why. But so that's one of the challenges. But on the other hand, I found it like really useful in an ease of use kind of way. So I don't have to travel out of the house. But also, it's like free marketing to do it live. You get what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna have this conversation anyway, and I'm gonna put it on Facebook, and people are gonna learn about it. They might not listen to the whole thing right then and there, but
Yeah.
then, so in the beginning of the show, I always say, if you head over to 032.com, there's over 100 interviews there, 130 plus now at this point.
Yeah.
And then, that's where you can listen to it like for real, or your podcast app. And I feel like it's free marketing, no? The doing it live.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then people kind of get into it, like they treat it like the guest treats it like an event, so
Very
like
easy
their,
to
their
market too.
friends know about it. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but I do notice, like, so what happens is previously the guest would, I don't tell them to share it, but if they do want to share it, so when I wasn't doing the live stuff, they would just share the podcast link. Now they share the Facebook Live link, which is fine, but like less valuable to me than the podcast link.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, there's Facebook, and then like as we mentioned the top, like most people have Facebook, so might as well.
Yeah. So and then the other thing is like you can talk to people who you just can't talk to it on a regular basis. Like one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I discovered was I have like my really good friends, the guys that I grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
they're not here. They're not in Cebu. So, but then I realized it's really fun to talk to those guys. So we have regular sessions on the podcast right now, like every 2 months or something. I've been
Yeah, I
posting
noticed.
a session with them, and then it's just like, yeah, it's just like talking the shit, like nothing really,
Yeah, it's like
no agenda or anything.
it's like you find value in the conversation itself rather than like, okay, I brought this person on because of what he does or something. But like sometimes you just bring in some like random people just to talk to them, and then like the value comes out like randomly, and it's like that's like the most amazing thing about like just talking. Like I tried that once. It was like
Yeah.
fun. It's like literally
Yeah,
you it's probably 90% blabber. It's like, okay, you're just like messing around and stuff, but then like you'd find those gems in there.
no, that's true because as you probably found out, like a lot of people when they go to your show, it's you asking them questions and them answering. So it's literally an interview.
Yeah.
It's not a back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
no? And for me, I would rather have a back and forth, but I understand why people do that because it is kind of a weird situation that they've probably never been in.
Yeah.
You know?
Like especially if you're just talking to someone you just met like the first time. Like I've had those situations where like I just want to be able to talk to this person because that person is interesting. But they never met me like beforehand. So that's kind of weird. So like, when you start at a podcast, you wouldn't invite like some random person out there. You'd invite people who you know so well because you need the thought of doing a podcast is already an uncomfortable situation. So might as well get people who you're comfortable with and just talk with them first.
Yeah, that's what I did. Like when I started my podcast, I literally talked to the people that I knew the best. Like, like I knew them really well. Like the first who knows how many episodes, I knew the people quite well.
Mm.
And then when I first started doing the live stuff, I didn't want to test it with like,
Yeah, of course. You wouldn't
a
want to
person
test
that I
it with
didn't
like
know.
just like a random guest, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I tested it with my friends. So
Of
like I told
course.
them, you know what? If this
This
screws up, then
I
you
had a
guys don't
conversation
care anyway.
with friends. Yeah. I just talked to my friends.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fun. Yeah. So yeah, when you
Yeah. So low stake tests.
Mhm. Yeah. They're fun. Like it's one thing that you can get to like try stuff by yourself, but then like it's so weird sometimes when it's like how am I gonna do this, like I need someone else with me to try with me so that at least it won't be as weird, or because sometimes when you try something by yourself it's like a weird experience, but then like if you bring your friends along, it's like it's not as weird yourself because at least you also, if it sucks, at least you all suffer together or something like that.
Well, no, but they're your friends. Like
Yeah.
they won't judge you.
Yeah,
Like,
I
They know. Like my friends know I'm a fuck up.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They're my friends because they know that.
Why else would
Yeah,
they be
I'm curious.
friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Like, how come you haven't done like the Facebook Live stuff or or the video stuff? Like you're sticking purely. Have you done the video stuff? Am I mistaken?
I've done
sticking
a
purely to the
live
podcast,
thing,
right?
but it was for a chat, like for helping with the COVID-19 pandemic thing. But other than that, no. Number one, because I still have a day job that's a strict time. So I can't just like
Oh, okay.
randomly put out a live stream. Of course, yeah, I can do it at night, but then like that's only
Yeah.
that's like my
But you-
only
you-
rest time. So yeah.
I know, but you're still doing the podcast though,
Yeah.
right?
So
I saw some episodes.
yeah, there
But
there
so
are
when you
some.
do the podcast, but how come are those new episodes?
Yeah, they're new,
Or those
but
are like old
it's
recordings? Oh,
they're
okay.
new. Like the reason why I do it because one, I bulk them, so it would be weird to bulk up and then like do
Ah.
the live succession. That would be weird. Might wanna try, but yeah. One, I'm also not as comfortable on camera when I'm doing it by myself. If it's like with a group, okay, I'm fine. I'll just goof around like an idiot. But like if it's my just me, I find it awkward. But I might try because when you don't try, like what's wrong with trying? So yeah, I don't know. I'm just it's hard to do consistency, especially if you're doing it for like what very very long in the grand scheme of things. So
Oh, but you could still do the bulk stuff. Like,
yeah,
you could, and I like you probably record like what, like a whole bunch of episodes in 2 weeks, something like that, and then like release it all in the next 2 months or something.
yeah. I mean,
You
to
could
be
still do the bulk stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, I see what you're saying though. It'll be kind of weird. It's like
have
episode will
lives.
come out really late.
Yeah, and you've done it already like what 2 months back. So it's kind of weird to do it that way. And if if I wanted to do it, like I don't know, it seems so. It's hard to do evergreen when it's so time, like there's like a time. The difference between your episodes is like a very short amount of time. Like for me, I don't know, because like there would be news like random, like a celebrity dies or something. So I mean, you shouldn't raise it up if you want it to be evergreen. But to be fair, it's not like um a thing that you put to bring up all the time. So I don't know. I'm just trying to keep the consistency because there were 2 weeks of during this whole thing where I got sick. Yeah, I don't know how many times I've said that in this year on the podcast. So yeah, I got sick for
What happened to you?
2 weeks. 2 weeks straight. I got fever. Good thing it's not the thing. So it would be very. It's like my body telling me, okay, rest, dude. You're not having enough rest. That's like one thing I learned through that experience. It's like I was literally on bed. My bed is literally beside me right now. That's literally what I did. Just lie in bed watching random YouTube videos. And it felt weird doing absolutely nothing. Because I'm restless like that.
Oh yeah, man, I hear you. I'm like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't want to
yeah.
be doing nothing. Like when I do nothing, it's like it's so weird. Even when I'm literally in the beach, like vacation, like when I have time for myself, I'm not on vacation. It's so weird.
I just literally like, man, I closed it. Literally before you sent me a message, I was reading a blog post by. I'm trying to search it, man.
It's fine.
Uh, hey, it was he's a cartoonist,
Mm-hmm.
and then the marketoonist.com. He writes like he draws like cartoons,
Yeah.
and he had this whole cartoon about the productivity trap. And here, there's a quote in it. Our culture is obsessed with productivity, but research shows that attempting to triumph over an ever expanding to do list actually works against us. So there's a need for, there's a term here. I'm trying to speed read it because I know you're in front of me.
It's
But,
fine.
but
I'll
I
I'll
can't
I'll
find
edit
it.
out the process. It's fine. I might probably edit out stuff that I don't know if it's gonna drag too long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but anyway, like it's like it's basically saying that there's a problem when you're always trying to be productive, or there's pressure to be busy, or like you're always like hustling, because
Mm-hmm.
burnout is a real thing. And just just in the same way that we kind of work hard, then there also should be ways for you to rest hard. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like rest is a real thing. Uh,
But
And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I actually don't believe in the notion that like you should be like work like doing all those late nights all the time, because yeah, it's you would end up not you would end up reaching a point where you won't like what you're doing, and you actually don't want that to happen. Otherwise you'll be way discouraged to do it in the future, and it's really hard to gain back what you lost, especially in but if to gain passion back after losing it is very hard, at least for me,
yeah,
because
man.
I've had some things in my life that I had passion back then, but now it's like gone. So it's really
Why is it? Because you it just consumed your life or something? Like what? What was that? What was it?
yeah. It's basically yeah. It came to a point where I didn't basically I didn't like what I was doing anymore. It was like I'm just doing this just because, or like I'm just doing this for the money or something like that.
Mm,
So it's like your mood changes and it sucks. Like you have to switch around and stuff, and eventually it will affect everything you do because it it already seeped in yourself, and it's gonna be hard when you don't overcome that. So yeah, that's how I feel with things like that when you lose passion. So yeah, it's really good to rest once in a while, but like not like, don't stop, just rest. Something like that.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So
man. What do
yeah.
you why do you what do you get from doing these podcasts? By I'm curious. Like,
One, I don't. If this was about the money, then I would have long stopped. So it's really not about the money, because if it was, it would be, yeah. Guys, never do stuff for just the money, because that's a weird. You just be looking for ways to get money, and sometimes you reach a point where it's morally not good. So might as well. It started out as an avenue because I wasn't as talkative as I am now. Back when
mm,
I was a kid, I was that silent one. Like I only talked to basically like just a few people. My now I'm basically looking for ways to talk to people, which is kind of weird and it's kind of creepy at times, but I hold back. So it's fun that I found it became an avenue for me to talk in general, not just like talk to other people, but like for me to be able to talk, because sometimes I don't really talk as much, especially like when I was a kid. It was like I don't really talk to just anyone, so it would be hard for me to bring up stuff. So I'm glad that it was a challenge for me at first to like constantly talk. But then like at college I had a barkada, and then I had, let's just say I had some better social skills when I got to college. So yeah, it became an avenue for me to talk. And it became a point where now that I've reached that point where I am able to talk more, like I want to be able to get some interesting stories from people. And it's not just about what they do, but like what they think about things. And yeah, that's what I get from doing these podcasts. Like getting to know people, but at the same time, sometimes I do these segments on the podcast where I make the guest ask me questions. So I also I thought of it as a way to get to know how other people ask questions too, because there may be differences, and then integrate it into how I ask questions. So that's what it eventually came to.
Yeah, like a self-improvement thing, huh?
Yeah, because let's face it, I'm not. I could, like, if the me from like 10 plus years ago saw me now, to say, okay, who are you? Like, there would be a big change in that way. So it would be like that.
Yeah, I'm just curious, okay, like you, for the amount of hours that I put into the podcast, it doesn't, like, if I was counting how much money I earned from it, it's not. I could
No.
just get a job. It would be so much easier.
Yeah.
You know, um, yeah, no, but I mean, what I get out of it is really I just learn from other people, and that's the most important thing that I get out of it. Just learning stuff from other people.
Because life is about learning. Like, even when you don't know, like, you're not in school anymore, like, you still learn. You still learn a lot of things. Life actually teaches you a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
but
things. School is like so
learn more after
yeah.
school.
Yeah, I feel like school is so controlled. It's like everyone, the school that we have now feels like like a certain kind of person would benefit from it, and then the rest are like, I don't know if they're fit for it or something. It's like trying to create a certain kind of person that would fit a society. And right now, the society doesn't require like the same kind of person. So I don't know. Would schools change because of that? I don't know, because there would be implications with that. So yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, it's interesting now. Okay, schools now they've been forced to adapt. Like I have two kids,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the schools they're just not prepared for this online classes thing. And I mean, you can't blame them. Like
No, I'm
this
not
is
blaming them at
doing
all.
it. Yeah, doing the online classes is hard, and then all of a sudden they had to change their the thing that they've been doing for years
Mm-hmm.
in a span of like 3 months or whatever it was. So lisod yun. And like I have a 2 and 4 year old, and like you can't expect them to pay attention to a person on a screen for an hour.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen.
No.
Uh,
It's
yeah,
like
so like there's I think
it's like on
yeah
you,
I think
like.
there's gonna be like so many changes
Mm-hmm.
with school. Hopefully there's a lot of like changes moving forward after this whole thing, this experience for
Yeah.
2020.
And to be fair, it's like attention spans of people are only shrinking. So I can't imagine like how long until a kid or a person would like just stare at the screen and learn. You would eventually like look away or like find something to eat
You
or
know,
something.
I always push back on that attention span. Like people say it kind of matter of factly, like, oh yeah, the attention spans now they're so small, and I don't know that. I don't know, man. Like I think there's just so much choice that when the kid or whoever finds the thing that they want to focus their attention on, they that's where it all goes. Like they find the exact thing that they want. Before if you listen to music, you only had the radio station, so whatever it was on the radio station, you had no choice. You had like
Mm.
5 stations that you could listen to. You looked at all five and you're like, they all suck, so I'm going to go to the one that sucks the least, right? That's
Yeah.
like, and now you can find exactly what you want. So if you find exactly what the kid wants, what you want, what I want, I am spending almost all of my attention on that thing. So I don't know about that lack of attention, the
I don't know.
attention span. Like you shouldn't force people to listen, read, or watch something that they don't want to. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I think it's from a notion where that old thinking is still there. So they think that when as the situation and the things change, that people are not, the usual stuff like the TV or the radio. They're not as attentive because that's how they see it in that point of view. But when you look at it at, like, let's say I'm gonna watch my favorite series, of course you're gonna binge watch that whole thing until it's finished. Like, you literally won't sleep. So yeah, it's a matter
Exactly.
it's a matter
So,
of
like,
perspective.
perspective. Like, how long are those TV shows? I don't
Yeah.
watch it. I don't watch series, man, because they take so much time.
That's
Like,
true.
I can't. Like, what? Like, 2 seasons? Come on. What? An hour per episode? 10
Yeah.
episodes per season? That's what? 20 hours of my life. It's a whole day. And some people can do that in 2 or 3 days.
Then, like,
Attention span is not low, man.
and it's like, yeah, it's all a matter of perspective. And then, like, I know some people who watch Friends like countless amount of times, like the whole series. And imagine that. It's like
I've watched it twice, like
Yeah.
everything.
I mean, yeah, there.
That was like when I was in college.
Yeah, but like now it's like easier because I don't know now because this streaming thing is getting weirder now because like everyone wants to own their own thing. So yeah, that's another topic for another day. Yeah, but yeah, it's really all a matter of perspective at this point. Like, if you're gonna, like, when you go to YouTube and then you'd go on this random rabbit hole where you watch one video and then that magic recommendation pops up on the right side. Then you watch another video. Then you watch another one until it's like, oh crap, I spent like 2 hours without even noticing. So
Yeah.
it's probably because we have all the access now, so we really choose what we want rather than like be forced to stare at something that we might want, we might not want. So yeah, it's probably a perspective thing now. But it's the traditional notion fighting the new, and yeah, it's kind of weird. It's
but-
weird at first that it will be the normal, like the new normal. I don't like it when they kind of say it that way. It sounds like a marketing thing.
The new normal.
Yeah, when they say it's the new
Yeah.
normal, trust me,
But
like,
it's
literally, like,
go, yeah.
let's wait for a year after we experience the new normal. It's probably back to the way things were. We just don't realize it. So I don't know.
I don't know. I actually hope. I suspect a lot of people will look back at 20. I mean, of course, 2020 horrible year, no doubt, right?
Yeah.
So many people suffering
Mm-hmm.
and everything, but I have no doubt that there are going to be people who will look back and say that this was pivotal in their like growth as a person, their whatever, their business, their relationships with people they love, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Like, I think it's forced us to to rethink old behaviors. That's for sure. Wait, I probably have to eat in a bit.
Yeah, we probably
I'm
have
just
to.
gonna wait for them to call me, but
Yeah, let's end this before we're gonna be called by our respective peoples. Cause yeah, I'm in that boat
Yeah.
too. I'll literally probably be called in a bit. Cause I had a podcast like last time, and it was like, oh no, I have to not be in the dinner table just to finish the episode, and it's sucks. So let's end it before we get scolded by people. We
yeah, no,
love.
but I probably had like 5 more minutes or
Yeah.
something.
So yeah. So thanks so much, Carlo, for being on the podcast again. It's been a while, and I'm glad it's not like
Yeah, man.
I did that like 2 years ago, and it was like literally question after question. Now it's like, okay, I'm not even gonna give a topic list at this point. Like I've already tried that with other guests. It's like I gave them like no topics, and then we just ran an hour, no problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think it really depends on the guest.
yeah.
Like also like the first time I met you,
Mhm.
I had no idea. Like, that was the first time I met you. I had no idea what to expect. So
Yeah.
there was no now, like, now I have a better sense of who you are, so I get to, have more of a conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like the first time you meet people, you're kind of like
Yeah, you're kind of hesitant to
defensive.
do stuff. Yeah. But then, like,
Yeah.
eventually, like, I've had a guest on for like 4 times, and then eventually it just became a session of derailing the topic. And and it's not gonna
Oh
be the
yeah.
same thing. It's gonna be like 10 or 20 topics, and you don't even realize.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. So, okay. Now's the time you can plug your stuff again. Although we've been like doing that over the course of the episode. So, yeah, if you
Oh
want to plug
wow.
your stuff, then go for it.
Like 032.com. That's it.
Yeah, they
And
have
if
a
you like
clearance sale.
bikes, you can search my name on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We had like so much stock because we have like stock in like stores, and some of the stores they just they're forced to
Just run. Yeah,
close.
you have no choice. Sad.
Because they have no choice. It really is. So we had a whole bunch of stock, and honestly, I don't know what to do with it. So
Might
it's
as
just
well. Might as well
sell
sell
them
it.
super cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's been a tough year, man.
it's been a
It's been a
tough year for
tough year.
everyone. Yeah, like places that
Yeah.
we knew and loved just randomly close for because of this situation. Like you never know when.
Yeah, but it's strange. No, but it's strange how it's a weird situation because there are people right now who are having a really hard time. But there's also people because the situation just benefits them. They're killing it. So like, examples would be um, like the computers right now, man. It's
Yeah.
hard to buy a laptop,
They're rocking
right?
it right now. It's like tech's like doesn't
Yeah.
stop. Okay, let's
Yeah,
release a
no,
new
but
phone like in this 1 week. It's like ugh. Everyone's
no, but
getting
but more than the usual, like because especially especially like cheap laptops,
mm,
because people are doing the
online
kids have
class.
homeschool classes,
Yeah.
they have online class, and they just don't own laptops. So people have been buying like just
Laptops.
laptops, like cheap laptops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get right now. Like I recently bought one, and I realized it's a little bit difficult to find laptops right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still buy, but like you don't get the normal choice that you would have.
Yeah.
Laptops, bicycles, you can't get anymore.
Mhm.
I mean, the choice is gone. Like
Yeah.
whatever is there is
I
what you
literally
have.
I literally
Um,
know someone who just asked their like immediate family member to buy them a laptop. It's like a gaming laptop, but then like the bad thing is that
uh,
had no webcam. So they have to buy
really?
the web.
It had
Yeah,
no
but
webcam?
some gaming laptops don't have webcams, so you literally have to buy a separate
Oh, I had
webcam.
no idea.
Yeah, some of them don't have them, so it's like why?
No, the webcam for me right now is like super important.
It's like super important. Like literally, my work laptop doesn't have one, so like our company provided us with a laptop, webcam.
Really?
Yeah, because they're old. They're admittedly old, so companies they don't just like throw away your laptops; they keep it because it's company money.
Yeah,
So
no, they sell it to people. Like,
yeah,
people resell it.
until they're unsellable, so they just donate it to schools. So that's what usually happens.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. It's been a while. So
Yeah, no problem. Eh?
yeah. Okay, I'll do this. I'll do my outro spiel now. Podcast updates and behind the scenes are on social media. That's Greater Life Pod, Greater Life POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also follow me personally on social media. That's Julian Sibi, JULLIANSIBI. Leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. That really helps the show a lot. And I'm not gonna promote the Patreon again because it's a really sensitive time to be asking people for money on Patreon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Until the next one, enjoy your tech, enjoy your coffee, enjoy your life, and Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Thank you again, Julian, for having me. Thank you for having me on the podcast. Yeah, guys, you can subscribe to his podcast. All right, another episode of 032 Conversations next week. See ya. Bye.